I will give you credit. Your willingness to have this dialogue is something that deserves to be commended.
Thank you.
Despite our very different views on a lot of different things.
But that's how things change, my friend. So I really appreciate you bringing me on. It means a lot to me that you're willing to have the conversation. Okay, this is a hard one.
We express our sincere condolences to the Kirk family. We grieve with our students, faculty, and staff who bore witness to this unspeakable tragedy. He was invited by the student group Turning Point USA to speak on our campus. We firmly believe that UVU is a place to share ideas and to debate openly and respectfully. Any attempt to infringe on those rights has no place here. We do not condone any form of violence at UVU and seek to make our campus a safe place for all.
I'd like to say welcome back, but I'm actually pretty bummed about all of this. I feel like we got a big problem on our hands in this country. I think the violence and the insanity has reached such a level that I think we're all just becoming numb to it on some level. So I really wanted to do this about Charlie Kirk because, you know, I had the pleasure of actually debating Charlie, which on some level it kind of really wasn't a debate because we agreed on a lot of stuff. I mean, you know, he's not really okay with my career of the past, which is, again, you guys know how I feel about all that. I'm cool with all of that. It's why our debate was so great because, you know, I just want to let you know that, like, it happened 3 years ago, and I'll never forget getting an email from them and TPUSA, and I wasn't really familiar with Charlie Kirk, and then I did a little, like, research, and I thought, wow, that's so amazing that he wants to bring me on and actually have conversation about the transgenderism movement and, you know, everything that I oppose in that movement, and he was really willing to sort of try to learn about certain kinds of things. And I just thought it was so amazing. And so I accepted the invitation, and the TPUSA treated me like a rock star, and they were just so amazing. And I did this great debate, which I'm just going to show you a couple little clips from it, and I'll put the link if you want to watch it. But it ended up blowing up and becoming huge for TPUSA, and also they invited me back a couple, 3, 4 more times. And I remember, like, I became friends with Charlie. We clearly were not, like, always in contact or whatever, but we walked away, like, super chill and awesome with each other and shaking hands and just sort of, like, laughing and being cool. And then periodically I would send a little message or something, and he would just acknowledge me, and in such a profoundly awesome way, because everyone thinks he's transphobic because he doesn't believe kids should transition, which, as you know, I don't. But, you know, the thing that was so cool about Charlie was he was always willing to have the conversation. But people didn't see that. They just didn't like, again, that's what's wrong here today, is a group of people, I would say, let's call them the woke left. They don't want to have conversation, okay? They don't want to. They want you to believe what they're telling you. Bottom line, no other way. Charlie had his beliefs. Didn't mean that he wasn't willing to have, maybe possibly be able to change his mind or not. I think I walked away from that debate with Charlie Kirk where he thought about it a little bit more profoundly, and in some ways had no problem with me as an adult living my life happy, not bothering anybody else, and not shoving it down anybody's throat. And that was really what I think I helped Charlie come to some understanding about. There are people like me out there, and he was so gracious to bring me on that show. I feel very you know, it wasn't like I was best friends with the guy or any of that, or we hung out. I just feel very sad about it all for many reasons. But, you know, he lost his life over a belief system. And how is that even a thing that anybody, and, you know, people are sort of, some weirdos are cheering it on and acting like it's okay. And what is wrong with people? What has happened to our country, and what has happened to having different opinions? So before I get too emotional here, I do appreciate you all a lot. And I do appreciate you listening to what I have to say here and really understanding that we have now lost somebody who was making a difference in this country and was helping to bring back a form of conversation, whether you like it or not, and really having the sort of spirit to go on these campuses. He cared about these young people. He cared that they understood where they were and how important this country is and our Constitution and our Bill of Rights and the freedom of speech. And kids don't even know what that is anymore. They're just being taught everything is fascist, everything is a genocide, everything. They're just being brainwashed into thinking this one way. So I feel like I'm rambling because I'm just so sad and horrified by this whole thing. So I want to show you a little bit more of, well, first I'm going to show you a little bit of the couple of pieces of the clip of Charlie and me real quick here.
Welcome, Charlie Kirk and Buck Angel. Thank you for coming. Tonight's topic is going to be transgenderism in America. You guys each have a few minutes to give your opening statements. I'll start with Charlie.
Okay, first, thanks for joining. I'm not going to take the entire time. I think it's pretty simple, my viewpoint. I think there's only two genders, and I have sympathy for people that suffer from gender dysphoria and compassion, and I think we'll explore that together. Transgenderism, if you will, presupposes that there are two genders, and I look forward to learning your perspective on all of that. But it's a serious problem, and I think based on things you've said, we'll actually have some common ground on children and education and the entire kind of detransitioning movement that's happening right now, because a lot of people have regret after undergoing that irreversible surgery. But yeah, my position's pretty clear. Your chromosomal makeup is very important. I believe we should be grounded in biological and material reality. I believe that gender and sex are directly related. And so I know I have more time to use, but I'm going to allow our guests to use that time up.
Right on. First off, thanks for having me. I really appreciate debates, and I really appreciate these conversations because they will help us move forward. So I'm pretty much on board with a lot what you said there. I do believe in sex. I believe in biological sex. Okay, so I just more wanted you to see. First off, it's kind of funny because I look this tiny next to him. He's super tall, and but you see how gracious, even from the beginning, he didn't try to make me feel uncomfortable or any of that. And he does have feelings and feels for people. People don't seem to want to hear that part of it. He did. He said that, he has an understanding that people suffer from this, and he wants to learn more about it. And that's where this whole trans ideological, angry, weird space doesn't want to do this. They wouldn't, if they invited some other, I'm not a trans activist, but if they invited a trans activist on, they wouldn't have accepted. You and I both know that. They never would have accepted or had the conversation that I was willing to have with Charlie here. So I just really value that time that I got to get on that show, because even if you have a chance to see the comments, you're going to see people were, thank you, Buck, and thank you, Charlie, for having this conversation. And this was 3 years ago, everybody, 3 years ago. I just can't even believe it. And at least, people were willing to listen. And then I changed the minds of some people, and they do understand it's a mental disorder. And we did come to some nuanced space. Not around my working adult, and I was not expecting that, nor do I expect anybody, and that is perfectly okay. That's way over here. But I was really more focused on the kids, on education, on conversation, on understanding that gender dysphoria does exist. And so I want to also bring back up this video today from the news, and this part was pretty profound, and I think it really says a lot. So let me bring this up again.
It's a tragic day for our nation. And I want to be very clear that this is a political assassination. We are celebrating 250 years of the founding of this great nation. That founding document, the Declaration of Independence, that this great experiment on which we embarked together 250 years ago, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. The first one of those is life. And today, a life was taken. Charlie Kirk was first and foremost a husband and a dad to 2 young children. He was also very much politically involved, and that's why he was here on campus.
So I'm going to stop for a minute because I really just, my heart, his family, all of it. As you know, I just adopted a baby, and I just feel so sad what's happening to this world, and people like Charlie being assassinated. It's a political assassination. It actually is. Why? Why do you have to kill him because you don't agree with him? It's just the most bizarre space to me to even do that. I'm at a loss for words. I really am. So I just wanted to say, like, wow, his whole family he's taken away from his children. Shame on you. Just shame on you.
Charlie believed in the power of free speech and debate to shape ideas and to persuade people. Historically, our university campuses in this nation and here in the state of Utah have been the place where truth and ideas are formulated and debated. And that's what he does. He comes on college campuses and he debates. That is foundational to the formation of our country, to our most basic constitutional rights. And when someone takes the life of a person because of their ideas or their ideals, then that very constitutional foundation is threatened.
That's it. Bam. And why I wanted to play that for you. That is such a powerful statement. It is everything. And to all the people out there who are cheering on his death or thinking it's funny, or I think you really are sad, and I think you need to really look deeply inside of yourself. And why would you ever think that? This is all of our country. It's not just one political party's country. It is not. You need to look at what this country stands for, and you are allowed to have different opinions. What should never happen is what happened to Charlie Kirk. Ever. So I don't know where the political space is, who did this. I don't think any of us know where they're coming from, who they are. We don't. It's why I'm not going to even comment on that. But I'm going to comment on the fact that obviously this person did not like what Charlie Kirk was saying or stood for. And that's the scariest part. So now are we all going to have to be in fear of having a different opinion, or a bumper sticker, or a flag, or anything, and be shot and killed because we don't agree with you? It's actually the scariest thing if you think about it. I want to bring up this last part of the interview that I think is really awesome. I wish I could play the whole thing for you because it's, I didn't even want to watch it all. It actually made me very sad. I kind of got teary-eyed. Well, I did. I cried a little bit when I pulled it up because I haven't seen it for such a long time. And it really brought back some really great memories of Charlie for me, and just being so like, I had a great time debating. I had such a great time because he made me feel comfortable to debate him, and he made me feel comfortable to have a different opinion. He didn't make me feel lesser than or mad about it in any way, shape, or form. I think that's the skill and the art of debate, is not getting emotional, but being factual. That being said, I also believe that people need to start understanding transgender is something that is a very small amount of people in the world. It's not what you see. And I think on some level that we need to have the discussion around what's happening in this and why there's this push of agenda to transition people at such a fast rate. Transsexualism is real. It's here. I have actual proof of it. But I do believe that we need to have a bigger conversation around it.
Appreciated you being here. It was lively and spirited. You were more nuanced towards this. I want to give you credit for that. Definitely don't agree on the pornography stuff, and I think the production of it's reprehensible. However, we've been through that fine. I'll just close with this. Like, look, there's the laws of nature, and we can't put them in suspense just because we want to. You admit that. You admit I'm a male that is, you know, I don't want to say offend you at masquerading as a female or putting on a costume or whatever as a male. And I think it's really important that we stay anchored in things that are good and true and beautiful, and trying to go on the journey of the exploration of the people that have gone into the fields and gone into the oceans of trying to figure out what that actually means. The Western canon is a beautiful thing. It's about protection of the innocent, you know, the courageous exploration, the journey of the unknown. And there are things in this world that are objectively true. And we must dive into those, such as sex being protected in a private domain, such as having children to be able to develop and to pursue virtue, and hopefully being able to develop a society around those things. But I will give you credit. Your willingness to have this dialogue is something that deserves to be commended.
Thank you.
Despite our very different views on a lot of different things.
But that's how things change, my friend. So I really appreciate you bringing me on. It means a lot to me that you're willing to have the conversation.
Dialogue is through reason. That's what the Greek means in it.
Buck Angel, thank you very much for joining us. And Charlie Kirk, we'll see you next debate night.
Thanks. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, my friend. That was awesome. Thank you. Just wow. That's it. Y'all know I'm a kind of emotional dude. And, you know, when he said, I don't want to offend you, but I put on a costume, it's like, no, on some level, this is a costume. I've always said that. I'm literally, my appearance is, I changed my appearance. I did not change my sex. And I know this is a costume. It's a costume that I wear 24/7, that I love, that makes me happy. That's all really anybody should care about. Am I a good person? Do I care? Am I in this costume because it makes me participate in the world better? That's all you should care about. And that is what he cared about. And we care mostly, him and I, connected because we care about the kids and we care about the future of this country and we care about these kids having a fair chance at life. So with that, I'm sending my love to his family and his kiddos. And I hope all of you understand how very, very, very scary this whole thing is. I'm sure you do. I know all of you who watch this channel care a lot about it. So with that, thanks for watching. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you supporting the channel a lot. And leave the comments, please. I love the comments. And I know you all, just let's leave Charlie's family with a huge amount of love. So hopefully they can feel it all from us. And I'll see you guys all on the next one.